Okay, good morning once again. This is our third day with our fifth edition of Lumuri TED Talks. I want to welcome 12th graders, especially. You're the ones starting our first talk with 2084, What Awaits Us. And it is a very special moment because we're going to have a very special teacher that will start with his first talk, okay? So we're going to have Ricardo Cividanes, so please welcome Ricardo.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So, 2084 is the name of the talk, right? What awaits us? We got this from somewhere. Back there in the 40s, about 80 years ago, there was a book released that was called 1984. I don't know if you've read it, but back to its time, it was a revolutionary concept. You know, it talked about how the future might look like. That's where we got the name from. We just changed 1984 to 2084 to make it about your future. Another few years passed, and we're now in the 80s, and a movie was released was called Back to the Future. I believe we saw that with some of my students last year. It also talked about how the future might look like. In the second movie, they had one character had the bright idea of stealing a record book which had the records of all the soccer or sport matches throughout history. So he went back to the past and he used this book to predict what might happen in the sport matches. And he will bet on it and make a lot of money with it. Okay? The idea is that if you're able to predict what is coming, you have an advantage over other people. Right? So that's why we chose this topic. Because we wanted to encourage you to envision what's going to happen in the future. To tap into your imagination and foresee what the future might look like. Okay? So let's see what you have prepared for us. Without further ado, let's start with the first speaker. Who's that? Muñoz, can take it? Oh, you have?
Yes. Where's my applause? Come on. Good morning, guys. And I'm so happy to be here. And I want to present my first speakers, but this time we have a pair. This is different than everything you have seen before. And we're going to start with Jose Gonzalez and Roger Labor talking about the food of tomorrow. Come on.
Bye. ¿Me escucho? Okay. So, many things we think that will going to happen in the future is the food because, like in a movie, name it, Space Odyssey. Okay, ahora sí me escucho. Name it, Space Odyssey says like the food is going to be leaked in the future. So, this is not true because it's leaked. But right now, the artificial food is happening. So, in 62 years, that will becoming true, I said. And that's it. And my partner, Roger, is going to continue.
Okay. As my partner say, all this time the food is missing is one of the things that will change the artificial food. It's being tasted in some parts of the world with overpopulation, such as, for example, in China they make artificial lettuce and vegetables. based full simulating meat meal.
Okay. For the increase of the artificial food, there are two reasons. Number one, because of the overpopulation, because every day there are more and more people, and for that, in 2084, we are going to have to use this type of food, the artificial food. And the second option is to save animals, because if we kill more animals, we are not going to have the meat for the old people. And Roger, continue.
One of the things that will be in trouble will be agriculture, because in 62 years could change to artificial food. As my partner say, the artificial food could be very confined for the animals, because will not be in danger of possible extinction. And already in Israel is a restaurant where artificial meat is offered.
And now for finish, because I am the last to speak. This type of food maybe be for the good of the humans, or because it's the last way we have to survive. Like the movie Stanley Kubrick says, Space Odyssey, because this type of food, liquid food, they use in that movie of Stanley Kubrick, a very good one, is the best sci-fi movie sponsor moment. It says they use liquid food because the decomposition of that type of food there is not like it's like artificial food. That type of food does the decomposition in the movie, and for that, maybe for the survival of the species, it's going to be used. And that is my Roger, my exposition.
Thank you, guys. Okay, we are going to have another pair, amazing pair. It's composed by Esmeralda Ventura and Maya Roy, and they are going to talk about climate change in the future. Come on, guys.
Ok, ¿me escucho? Sí. Okay. What future do you want if we don't help the environment? The effect of climate change will be different depending on the type of ecosystem. According to a study included in the third National Communication on Greenhouse Effect Gases of 2006, the type of vegetation that could register the greatest change in the surfaces are grassland, thickety Arizona, and oak forest, three important ecosystems in biodiversity. Future scenarios are voting. Science studies suggest that between 53 and 62% of vegetation. Air pollution can cause severity respiratory infection, heart disease, lung cancers, which affect all ours. There will be life in those years? Who knows? Will we see more natural disasters? The value of water will rise. It will have more value and it will be more difficult to obtain science. It will be more scarce because the seas and rivers will be scarce. So, if that is going to happen in 2050, what's going to happen in 2084?
From 2030, if there is no change in climate measures, it was discussed in the UN nation that it would not be possible to reverse the harmful changes in the environment. Significant loss of biodiversity, mainly in the Great Barrier Reef, problems of water scarcity, droughts, and fires. By 2050, greater risks in coastal areas due to rising sea levels and the intensity and frequency of storms. The temperature will increase. That will damage the ozone cup, producing more holes in it that is being damaged by all the pollution. As a consequence, there will be more heat, which will melt the icebergs. Thus, following this, thus affecting the habitat of polar bears, penguins, etc. Following this, the biodiversity of all of them will be affected, thus creating chaos in the ecosystem. The quality of the air will drop, so there will be more respiratory diseases, and perhaps they will have to go back to wearing masks, like places like this, because the air is still polluted due to the war. After all this, do we have a future?
Okay, so the next speaker is going to be a solo this time. And we got Chantal Avila, and her speech is about joyful life in the future. Come on, let's give her a big applause.
A joyful life in the future. We often see how everything is evolving, cities are growing, life is increasing, technology is flowing. But have we ever wondered what the increase in happiness is, or it's at some point gives some importance throughout the history of the earth? No, it has learning run is no, it has never had a learning role. It has been confused with satisfaction or a momentary joy. But happiness is not about that. We used to forget about it, leaving one of the most essential factors for the soul of human being, happiness, totally unplugged. It is true that we are an excellent predictor when it comes to determine, for example, what the future or a scheme will be if we some battle too much, or if we will suffer from indigestion, it will overindulge in certain food. That is why I sustain that is the life of happiness in the future can be predictable, or at least have a preamble on it, and in this case, I believe that it is danger of extinction. If the life of happiness continues as it is, I will die. I imagine a future without happiness. I will be more of less empathic people, more depression, insecurities, anxiety, poor rich people with a lot of money in their bank accounts, but less happy. Totally roboticized people replaced by machines that do everything for us. Finding happiness is a different task for everyone. Trying to make a small change in life, it feels better. Eventually, we have invested energy in healthy habits that will take us to a happier life. Today, I want to leave you with this question. How are we going to take happiness to 2084 and keep it? Thank you.
Okay, so we have the speakers. This is going to be the last presented by me, and it's Florangi Santana, and with her speech, Cities or Fantasies. Come on.
Uh, is the future going to be how we see in TV show and movie? I can surely say we are together about these alarms. The famous feel like Tomorrowland, the 100 Game Dawn. Our present different idea of distant future. How humanity has accepting to serve of chance. But how does the side play to real life? Don't take my question. Go answer humanity never faced to amazing me. With new invention, a project coming to life like the Mirror City in Saudi Arabia, I think of guests as this of watching coming. If you haven't heard of this, it's counting of a port of the Suez in Saudi Arabia.
Good morning. Now I have a special group of speakers coming here, right? My 12th graders. And I have a special speaker today, Martinez Figueroa. She will be talking about artificial intelligence, AI. She's a little nervous.
Okay. Yeah. What if one day you wake up and your thoughts aren't yours? You're not in charge of what's going on inside your head. Instead, it's 2084 and you are a robot controlled by artificial intelligence. Like everyone around you, your whole life is a cycle that repeats itself constantly. You're ruined by an algorithm that is taking years to perfect, and so does everything else. This is how I see the future. AI running most things as it doesn't already. It's everywhere, from voice assistants to self-driving cars. We see it daily, and until 2084 will be just a cliche that everybody thinks when the future is mentioned. Flying cars, computers controlling the world, and robots controlling humankind. Because we have every resource to make it happen, but this isn't necessarily a good thing. Personally, I enjoy simplicity. The little things like reading a book or going for a walk bring me joy and make me stay out of my comfort zone for a while. In the future, I envision this, and there is none of that, and that's sad. So I encourage you to break your routine and do different things now and then, because you may be surprised by the outcome. Otherwise, I don't expect us to make it to 2084. Thank you.
She did awesome, right? We were scared first, but then she got it. All right. Now we have a very special guy coming up here. Luis Tormenta. And he's going to talk about cars of the future. There you go.
Future cars are predicted to be electric, network, and intelligence. In terms of automated driving, in addition, there will be a digital entertainment on board. The EU Environment Commission has just approved the end of sales of cars with fuel 5 years ahead of schedule. There is already a date for the prohibition of diesel and gasoline cars in the territory of European Union. It has been voted on and it is definitive as of January 1st of 2035. Cars with combustion engines will not be able to be sold in the European Union. So, what will happen to combustion cars? Will they be a luxury or a junk? I think they are going to be a luxury, very expensive, that few people are going to be able to afford. But if most cars were electric, I would think they would have to create some way for people to charge their cars faster. Because nowadays, or these days, people are afraid to buy an electric car because of the lack of stations and the time it takes to charge your car. A negative point is that studies affirm that building an electric car pollutes 70% more than the same gasoline model. And there is a gigantic difference that is recovered during the first useful year of the electric car, although it will depend on the origin of the electricity. Yeah.
Okay, Louis, very good. We're back. Now I have a very special speaker. She's going to talk about, sadly, we'll just be prisoners of our reality in the future. Let's give an applause for Carla Gonzalez. Hold that. When you're finished, don't go down. Wait for me.
Okay. I'm Carla, and I'm going to talk about we will just prisoners of our reality. The uncertainty of the future really makes us wonder. Is our present even enough, or are we already doomed? It is still the 21st century, the year 2084. Are we alive? Maybe. Have we improved in technology for sure? As a society, Well, it's going to be so bad that we're not even people anymore. Okay. Do you mean robots? No. That will be too much. What I do mean is that the stigma and prejudice will dry off of the fact that everything will be accessible. If you wanted to, you could get modifications everywhere. Because it will be mainstream and cheap. To change according to societal pressure could become our culture, basically. Before even being born, you're already a law-abiding citizens. Okay, without flaws and everything. Because why have human beings when we can be perfect? Now, you're a child, a golden child. Like everyone else, don't forget, being different doesn't exist anymore. We are all perfect from head to toe. Think exactly the same as we have been taught. And dress following the standards and exist. That's it. Our patients will be just like our parents wanted us to like. We will have a signing just for life and have the same eternal 24/7 schedule. We will become prisoners of our reality. And in some ways, we already are. Today, we die working just to live. And tomorrow, we live just to work. We live just to work. Born into this world to become mindless ants without a single purpose other than to please our peers and to do what is expected of us. That will be our culture. That is our culture. Or fake lives without war. No one daring to have a straight thought. Why even bother at all? And this is just imagining the social aspects. Because thinking of how we will probably be handicapped without technology is even sadder. The future doesn't look nearly as bright as we will have hoped. Not socially, economically, or environmentally. The seeds to that great future are already planted, but the present is still here. There's still time to think, time to fight, and time to dream. Let's make it worth it. Ay, ya me dio baja. Está horrible. Dije.
Awesome.
No me pongas.
Thank you, Carla. Okay, my next speaker is going to talk about something you guys probably won't see in the future because they're already dying out now. Let's give Daniela. She's going to talk about Animal Kingdom.
There you go. Okay. Animal Kingdom. You don't know what you got until it's gone. It's a true saying. We all take things for granted in life and we fail to see what's right in front of our eyes. Only when something good is taken from us do we realize how special it was. I'm sure most of us take wild animals for granted, as we are focused on the pets we have at home, but wild animals like the tiger, the elephant, the whale, the gorilla, and many other animals are on the brink of extinction. There's a high possibility that before 2084, these animals will no longer exist. The land we use for living, space, food, clothing, housing, the things we buy, and the waste we produce contribute to the main causes of species loss. Animals are losing their homes, and it's a devastating tragedy, and they shouldn't have to live in zoos in sanctuaries. They should be living in their natural habitat, enjoying their freedom, something that won't be possible in 62 years' time. In 2084, a sadder world may await us, most likely with less animal diversity. It's a reality we are already facing. Let's just hope maybe we'll get a little more time than we thought with the creatures that share our home. Thank you.
You okay? Good, thank you. And our next speaker, Grace Ravidoni, she's going to talk about where is humanity? No more people, only robots, AIs. You'll be okay.
Okay. Technology has the power to do many things, and changing the world is one of them. In all these years, technology has advanced a lot for the good of humanity. However, negative effects can already be seen in the people. Nowadays, we can see how we are so psychologically dependent on technology. We are with our phones 24/7. Sometimes we don't pay attention to others when they are talking with us, just because we are so distracted by our phones, and that's very disrespectful. If we're like this now, imagine how we're going to be in the future. In 2084, technology may have advanced so much that the communication of people will be robotic without a soul. Everything will be machine, as well as those that made the meals. A human without a soul is not a human. Values will not exist because everything will be certain. Everything will be iron. Living in a land where people are robots, where everything is programmed to do specific things, where you don't have to brush your hair or take the fork for eating, or maybe just go to work because a robot can do it for you, isn't real life. On the other hand, people use the internet as a way to escape the real world or avoid personal contact. Consequently, the more time they spend connected to the internet, the less likely they are to see and talk with their friends. Communication will become cold, distant, and less expressive. That's why I ask myself, is this the life I want to live in? And I say no. I want to live in a world that every time I walk somewhere, there's a little smile that can change my mood of the day. That's why I ask you people, in what world you want to live in. Thank you.
Oh, you're the waiter. All right. Thank you, Grace. Very good, Grace. So, my next speaker is an expert coming up here, and he's going to talk about games. Let's give it up for Jesus. There you go, buddy.
Hello. Okay. Hola, hi. My name is Jesus. I'm going to talk about video games in 2084. Video games began in the 70s with Atari's ping-pong arcade game. But like we see them today, originated back in 1995 when Sony released the PlayStation. Video games became a market dominated by Nintendo, Sony, and then Microsoft. Also, this time was when handheld gaming became very popular. Handheld devices are like devices that allows you to play video games. Unlike consoles, you can use it anywhere without a TV. Okay. Handheld gaming had its own era, but it was killed by phones. The future of video games. I think the most significant change in video games will not be the graphics, it will be the presentation. Companies are trying their best to upgrade games. The VR is a perfect example. The VR, or virtual reality, is a gaming device that allows you to see your video games that shows you an environment simulated scenes and objects that appear to be real but are not. The games of the future will probably have no physical control or devices. I think brain-to-machine interfaces has shown that this could be the next big thing in gaming. It is just a matter of time before this technology finds its own path to gaming. I think the future is uncertain. But the future of gaming will be brain-to-machine games, and you'll be capable of playing your games in your mind without any external device. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus. Very good. My next speaker, Cristal Mateo, she's going to talk about we are going to build our future. Cristal.
Oh, we're nervous. Hold on.
You'll be okay.
Ay, ya quiero salir de eso. Okay. So, how do you expect the world to evolve if you do nothing to work on it? You haven't wondered what the future will be like for future. We have always been talk about cars, flying cars, or the robots, or the impact of technology, and etc. But we never talk about the future of humanity. So everything we give our time to bring a positive impact that become great as a long time. For example, if you are planning to go to the gym and you do exercise you go to the gym and you start exercising 2 months, you will see eventually a lot of change in your body and also in the way you feel. But if you want to see that change, you need to start now and you need to start now and don't give up on it. And eventually you will see change. Okay, for the future we visualize many possible things that now we see impossible. If we start to create it, what we want to see in the future, eventually we will see change, and thanks to time, mistakes, and setbacks, we can visualize the future on life at it as we have planned. But as they say, the future is relative, and it's something that does not exist scientifically. So we're going to create it. We're going to build our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Cristal. Cristal's a little nervous. All right. Our next guest is a professional. Well, he's a scientist. He's going to talk about biotechnology. Let's give it up for Luis Gonzalez.
You like that, huh?
Okay, to begin, I'm going to talk about biotechnology, in specific way, the life expectancy of our life, right? So, some of you will be asking, what is biotechnology? And biotechnology is the application of technology in life. In a specific term is, according to Google, right, is, give me a second. is technology that utilizes biological systems, living organisms, or part of this to develop or create different products. In the life expectancy in the future, in 2084, we will live more than 100 years, according to scientific, that they are 100% sure that we are going to live more than 100 years, and we are going to have like artificial arms, artificial legs, and exoskeletons. And this isn't any surprise because humans are afraid what they don't know. And we don't know what's going to happen after life when we are dead. And some of us think that or believe that afterlife is something special, but we have to be honest. We aren't special. We are the same as a wall, a table. We are atoms, molecules, we are matter. So after life, when we are dead, we are gone. Everything ends, like our thinking, our ability to dream, everything ends, and we are incapable of doing something. So we are like matter. When we are dead, we are the same as a table or a wall. We are matter. We are only molecules and stuff. So it isn't any surprise that we are going to reach the immortality or the eternity, and that's what I have to say. Thank
you. Okay, so I have my final speaker, and she's going to talk about the year 2084. Who will we be? Let's give it up for Sofia Parra. You'll be okay, you'll be okay. Just breathe in, breathe out. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, okay, sí se oye. We are all unique individuals, and in one thing is sure is that in 50 years from now, we will be completely different people. Some of us may be married, divorced, even dead. And that's life, that's okay. Some of us may become successful, others will not. This depends of now, of the choices you made today. Our present rules our future. And in this present moment, with our youth in full splendor, the big question is, who is going to achieve the goals and who is not? No terminado. So what awaits us? A future. And this room will be full of strangers. That's what we'll be. Now, think about what you want to do, what dream you have. Throw yourself into that. Go to that party, do madness thing, do something that scares you, but just do it. So in 50 years from now, when you analyze your life, you can say, I have lived and I don't regret anything. There will always be something you lose even when you win. But that's not the really valuable lesson here. The really valuable lesson is to be able to make that decision. To do it, being free. Bet on a dream for a person, for yourself. But just do it with desire, with passion, not with doubt or to fear. And remember, open your eyes and see as much you can see before closing them forever.
All right, so that's the end of my show. So you're saying that in the future, you'll be able to go to the supermarket and purchase your girlfriend or your boyfriend from a box. Could that happen? Could happen. We never know. Artificial intelligence. So, who's next? Nicole? Oh, Nikki was too busy with her AI. Oh my goodness.
Okay, hi everyone. So right now I'm going going to present my group, which is B2. And the first one will be Laura Piña and Emmanuel Diaz with the title, How Will the School Education Be in 2084? Manuel.
Ponme sin Giancarlo.
Yeah. We often think of the.
Just start.
We often think about the future is impressive. We think all those technologies will be able to develop as human beings, changing your life or even changing the environment you will live. But we never stop to think about it. How it's gonna affect the school education in the future. Although it's vital for the development of humanity. The school is the basis of your society. It's not like anyone sit down and think about it, right? That's why the evolution of school education is not the focus point of young people.
In 2084, the young generations will benefit from studying for many reasons, like not having to carry those heavy backpacks full of school supplies, because all these elements will be replaced by their digital alternatives. And we are also going to use digital screens instead of blackboards, where you can see documents, watch videos about the topic, and do interactive activities. In the future, education will be superior, making everything much easier and facilitating different methods of learning, such as the use of virtual screens when teaching classes in specific subjects. In this type of electronic device, you will find the most valuable information in the world. So education will be better for all those new improvements in 2084 as we are going as humanity to develop, granting comfort and ease to study in those new generations that will receive education of higher quality at a future time.
Finally, but not least, the school education in the future will be benefit for student populations, making her classes easier, less stressful, and don't carry that heavy materials like books, notebooks, pencils. And also, it's gonna be more often to use electronic devices like cell phones, computers, and interactive boards. Thank you very much.
Okay. Very good. So now, coming up next is Daniela Collado with Communication in 2084. Hello. Have you ever thought about how hardly anyone goes to a concert without taking a photo or recording a video and posting it? Well, this is because we have moved from an era in which we lived in a moment to another in which we share it. Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and other social media apps allow us to share that moment while we live it. And now, the experiences are not only for the people that we attend the concert with, but for all the contacts that we have in our networks, just by clicking, even if they are in the other part of the world. If that's now, I can imagine it in 2084. Probably we'll be able to see what everyone is doing just through special glasses. We'll be able to share smells and tastes too, or we may be able to communicate by sending our thoughts through a network directly into someone else's brain. And if this last part surprises you, let me tell you that scientists are already working on creating brain-computer interfaces that allow people to transmit thoughts directly to a computer. Perhaps in 60 years from now, we'll all use an electronic version of telepathy. Yeah, I know this is crazy, but technology is advancing quicker than ever before, and the field of communication is releasing in a new world of opportunity, encompassing not only more channels, but also new and better ways to communicate. So now I'm standing here talking to you about the future, but maybe in the future, this won't even be necessary. Thank you.
Very good, Daniela. Now we have Nicole Fajad with Fall in Line.
There's a high chance most of us here will make it to 2084. It's what, 6 decades away? I'd say we'll probably survive that long. But in reality, whether we do live that long isn't the main variable. It's whether we'll be able to enjoy our lives up to that point. Because you can tell me that what's waiting for us in 6 decades is better than what we have now. The only thing we all care about, or at least I do, it's our quality of life. It's a concept used to measure the well-being of societies or individuals, with various dimensions like living situations, the environment, career success, and overall contentment with our lives. I mean, who wouldn't want to check all these boxes? No one, right? But not all of us will be able to. With the passing of each day, there are more and more people who lose their jobs, get evicted, get sick, and use various ways to cope that end up destroying their insides too. A lot of people will follow the working bee life and not recognize themselves in that long 2084. But it's not our fault. It's how the world is and will continue to be. Now, I'm not saying to fuck with all this because it's how it works, but what we can do is to enjoy our life now, always live in the present, and make choices that will allow us to. Who cares what's await us in 2084 if it won't be enjoyable? Thank you.
Very good, Nicole. Now we have Emilia Hernandez with the topic, does the future exist or is it only a human conception?
Okay.
Okay. Good morning. Can you hear me right? Okay. It's fun when we ask to talk about how life will be in the future. It's really a very creative topic. It makes us think and imagine the millions of creations that could exist: technology, economy, education, society. But what if I told you that time doesn't exist? Would you believe me? To many people, this may sound crazy, but not to Albert Einstein. Isaac Newton was based on a hypothesis about our notion of past, present, and future, meaning that we can each remember the common past, live together the common present, and try to imagine the common future, which allowed us to think that we live in a common time. This idea that the duration that each of us can feel and measure with our watch are the manifestation of a universal time that unfolds in the same way for everyone in the same universe. In reality, it's not a manifestation of a universal time. The number of present, past, and future is in a given personal way. All those durations that we can measure with a cell phone or even atomic clocks, we could not make them coincide. Ancient relativity of time states that all events, present, past, and future, are on the same plane or on the same level, which means what happened tomorrow exists as much as what happened yesterday. Only there is no memory of it yet. But Amelia, like right now, I'm looking at time on clock. The present moment is not a clock phenomenon. Clocks measure intervals, seconds, minutes, hours, while the present moment has no interval because it is always here, renewing itself each time. Since the instant you try to capture it, it's gone. This implies that the now is actually outside of time. It can be defined as instantaneous or eternal. Both are valid as verbal description, but ultimately worthless, since the vocabulary of time doesn't apply to timeless. It is when someone believes that they are going to die and go to heaven for eternity. The typical causal definition of eternity is a long, long time, but but that is not true, because what is eternal must be outside of time. Ultimately, the only participation we can have in time outside of time occurs in our consciousness. To conclude with a good example that explains all this, when you raise your hand and look at all the stars, most of them do not exist. They are dead. This is because the stars are so far away that the light they transmit takes years to reach the solar system. It all depends on what position you are in, so it is relative. And it doesn't only apply to time, in real life too. There's even a joke that ends like they're dead, like their dreams, implying that we should live the only time we have, the present. Thank you.
Emilia.
Hi.
Oh, wow, she was going to steal the microphone. Okay, now we have a duet. We have Isabela Leites and Erika Victor. And their title is A Strong Future.
Me estoy haciendo popó.
Okay. Strong future. Are you happy with your current way of living? Do you do anything to better yourself? I know I do. In fact, I go to the gym. And nowadays, gyms are quite modern and offer us many options to exercise, as well as new machines, supplements, and new exercises that will make us reach our goal faster. From personal experience, I can say that the gym has become a lifestyle because of the impact it has on a person, plus all the discipline it takes. As time goes by and I stay consistent, I keep seeing changes in myself. By 2084, I'm certain that things will not be the same worldwide.
According to research by scientists, it is being said that gyms will have noticeable changes, such as boutiques, and new redefinitions will make gyms be part of software that interpret data analysis to help us achieve our goals.
People will have equipment at home that connects to the cloud. Each device will have an internet connection and will send health and performance data points to a server owned by a fitness company. While there are currently manual machines, and there are some already created that work through technology.
The way I picture 2084 is with machines that do exercises for you and with many more people involved in the world of exercise. This year brings many new trainers, greater opportunities, and new exercises. Also, advancements in few projects that already exist, like digital weights. More of the expectations for 2084 are towards the people and much more advanced world of exercise. I hope they fall in love with the gym and with the good results it can bring, especially in this futuristic era.
Thank you. Okay, very good, girls. Now we have Paul Martinez with health. We're waiting. Take your time.
By the year 2084, most of us won't even be alive. Or perhaps we will. But the important thing is how the year will be lived. And that is where the thought of I should take care of myself to live longer comes in. I like the idea of taking care of myself not just to live longer, but to live better. It's more convincing to me the idea of getting older and not by taking pills for my blood pressure by 50, nebulizing myself from time to time, dialyzing whenever I need it. Problems that by removing the inevitable genetics can be cushioned, and better yet, eliminated by having better habits for your body and knowing that no one is going to take care of yourself like yourself. So why not make the effort? Imagine I offer $1 million, but in exchange, you have to stay a year in bed. I can bet you wouldn't take it. Now you know your time and health isn't worth that amount of money. Now you know that time and wellness is worth more. So use that time to your advantage and make it unforgettable. 2084, what if we take away importance from that speculations and start living now, the moment that you have and your loved ones? So if you're asking what awaits us, it depends on you.
Very good, Paul. Great. Thank you. Okay, now we have another duet. We have here Alfredo Nin and Jen Suriel. And their title is War Famine in 2084. Come here, guys. And this one. And yours. A ver.
¿Tú se escucha ahí? Oh, aló.
Hi, I'm Jan Suriel, and
Alfredo.
and we're going to talk about how to get rid of famine. Famine is a widespread condition in which many people in a country or region are unable to access adequate food supplies. Famine results in malnutrition, starvation, disease, and high death rates. This problem or condition is one of the most talked about in world problems in recent years, since it has been getting worse over time. We need to reduce it as much as we can, because it would be affecting the usual things we do as working. Many researchers have seen that with a poor diet, health is worse. People perform less well at school, work less, and pregnant women are at a greater risk. We said just the way that it could affect us people, but this one could actually affect even a country in a social political way. Seen through a purely economic lens, the continuing prevalence of global hunger is bad for business. It inhibits productivity, slows economic growth, and places unnecessary burdens on health and education systems.
Thanks. One of the first countries studied in the series was Malawi in South Africa, and their findings were stark. Based on the most recently available data, the COHA team estimated the national economy loses nearly $600 million every year to the effects of child undernutrition. That's more than 10% of Malawi's GDP. Every time people get into this topic, we all agree this needs to be a stop. But this question will always pop out. How? Best solution to reduce this world hunger is to reduce food waste. Food waste has become almost a normal habit to food companies. And from this comes what we think is the best solution. Our idea to solve this is create a company that collects the waste and distribute it around the world to the people who need it. It's not a really elaborate idea, but it will help so much. What do you think about it?
Okay, thank you, boys. Now we have next Maya Roy with the title Emotions in 2084.
Okay. I am someone who faithfully believes in what I see. Words without actions, doubts without proof, promises without affirmation seems absurd to me. And most of the time, I think that is why the future seems very uncertain to me. We ask a little boy about the future, and he says that he will be a policeman or a fireman. We talk to a teenager, and he talks about medicine or architecture, or just doesn't talk at all because he doesn't have insurance. And if we talk to an adult about this, we have two possible answers. Either it talks to you about futuristic problems based on the present, or about new opportunities that are uncertain but turn into hope. This is how I like to see the future. With doubts, without affirmations, without planning, that everything happens because in my present, I decided that it should be reflected that way. But since they're not asking me, what do I think about the future, and they're asking me to talk about myself in 2084, I decided to focus on emotions. It seems to me a very off topic, but when you dig into it, you can draw quite a few conclusions. We see 2084 as a moment of progress. Will technology take a great path? Will poverty decrease or increase? Will education be different? All these are problems that I consider elemental at the moment of discussing them, but at the same time, they're extremely superficial. Why not better talk about the thoughts of humans, opinion, feelings, selfishness, fear? Will 2084 be the year where people stop hiding what they really feel? Will this year be a cozy time where we can all get the best out of each other? 2084, will the oppressions end? 2084, bring me people who are not afraid to express their ideas and emotions. Enter my life with good opinion, sincerity, people who are not afraid to say, I love you. That rejection becomes an inspiration to look for something better and not a wall that does not allow you to look ahead. 2084, I don't believe in you, neither in your promises nor in your advances, but I do have the doubt of knowing if we will finally be who we are and not have a mask as long as we fit in with the expectations of others. Because yes, it is very good to have great technology and better education, but none of that compares to having a world full of empathy where feeling is just more than just.
Thank you, Maya. Okay, now we have Diego Salto with the title.
Well, hi guys. I will mainly talk about how the nations are going to be moving on the GDP ranking on the future based on their technology improvements on the last decade. Okay. First of all, I base my new ranking of the GDP on technology improvement because it is what it has been dominating the market on the last decade, as I already said. And I would like to start my speech saying that the world economy could more than double in size by 2050, far outstripping the population growth. This is because the continued technology-driven productivity improvements that we have done. For those who don't know what GDP is, GDP, or gross domestic product, is how much money a nation is capable of generate on a short amount of time, mostly yearly, by selling their products or services. Emerging markets, just as E7 or the top 7 European nations on the GDP, could grow around twice as fast as advanced economies, just as G7, the top 7 global economies in the world. But the difference between them is so big that this would not influence the GDP ranking directly. As a result, 6 of the 7 largest economies would still be emerging economies in the future. This ranking is led by China as first, surprisingly India by second, but more surprisingly than India, there is Indonesia as fourth. For those who are paying attention, you may be asking, where is our friends United States? United States could be down to third place. And the European 27s, or the 27 nations that use euro, their share of the global GDP could fall below 10%. United Kingdom could be down to 10th place. France would be out of the top 10, and Italy out of the top 20. You may be asking why. This is because they haven't based their economy on technology. They have based their economy on products or services that are predicted to be devalued on the future. And also because they are being overtaken by faster growing emerging economies, just as Mexico, Turkey, and Vietnam, respectively. But for all this to happen, emerging economies need to enhance their institution and their infrastructure significantly if they are to release the long-term growth potential. Thank you for your time.
Very good. Thank you, Diego. Okay, last but not least, we have Hugo Vargas with the title, Are Terminal Diseases Done?
Okay. Cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, strokes. All of these are terminal conditions, terminal diseases, known as common medical conditions. What does this mean? It means incurable, lifetime conditions that will eventually cause anyone of any age to die. Despite advances in modern medicine, sometimes these conditions cannot be fixed. But imagine living in 2084, a world where all of these illnesses are gone uncurable. Although there is clearly no definitive cure, this doesn't mean that we haven't made any progress. In fact, if we start comparing with 1984, there will not even be the half of the development that we have until now, such as virtual reality. You must think that virtual reality doesn't have anything to do with this. But hear me out. Virtual reality has been around for some time now. However, it is being now used increasingly to psychological illness like stress, anxiety, dementia, and autism. Thank you.
Hey guys, let's just wait. Now we're gonna have the 8th graders coming in. Let's just give them a few minutes so they can come in smoothly. Okay? Let's have a 4 minutes break, okay? What a minute? 5 minutes. Okay, so coming up next, we have Lisani Almanzar, Futurama.
Breathe.
Immortality or death? Have a limited time on earth and live your life to the fullest, not knowing when your time will be up, or have the chance to do absolutely anything and everything with all the time in the world. 2084 is 62 years from now. Imagine waking up, looking out the window, and seeing a completely different world. By then you'll be used to it, but imagine then, now. And allow me to be cliche for like 2 seconds. Different vehicles, new buildings, robots walking around at their own free will, newly a part of society. I'm going to be frank, I'm pretty sure that half of us in this room won't be around in 62 years to see where society will be. But that's taking the route of death. Suppose that by then, death is just an option. And this may sound stupid, but immortality is rather interesting if you give it enough thought. There have been a few speeches given today on medical advancements and the value of time, both which are subtopics in what is and what could be immortality. Someone may come to realize that we waste our time. That we waste our time, that our time on earth is too short, even though this is known. Someone with the given power can change society as it is with this thought alone. Now, the possibility of achieving immortality, it raises a whole host of philosophical and ethical questions, including the nature of personality over time. Immortality means the immortality of the consciousness, not of just the physical being. One can leave the body whenever they're meant to. But the idea of being in the physical plane for an indefinite amount of time, it's the greatest torture. Now, this whole topic is very what-if based. We're speaking 6 decades into the future, 6 decades into the future, where nothing we are saying today is known to come true. Could any of this be possible? If you're around by then, you'll know. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisani. Okay, so now we have here Sara Castillo, Post-Earth.
This is awful.
Okay. The third law of Newton states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. But what does any of this have to do with 2084? As humans, our actions would be to live on Earth, creating more life, hence taking it away. This has been our role on the planet since the beginning of time, to create and destroy. But enough is enough. Look at the wildfires in California, the earthquakes, all the hurricanes. I mean, come on, we all heard about Fiona. And don't even get me started on global warming. Water and air pollution, and the list goes on and on and on. What was once our home is now becoming a distant memory. It's fading away.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Oh, no, wait. Stop, I forgot I had to make a phone call. Oh? Happy birthday! Whoa. Oh my God.
You just turned 18. Ay, Dios. Now that you're all grown up, Mother Earth can tell you clearly that it doesn't want you to come back home. You can pack all your things and go. Ay, Dios. Since you're homeless now, I guess the only option is to go into space. This is how I envision 2084. No Earth, just the galaxy. Space travel is so advanced that engaging in it isn't hard at all. It's like knocking on your neighbor's door. Thanks to multiple breakthroughs in space technology, like the International Space Telescope, the International Space Station, the James Webb Space Telescope, and many more invented years ago, humans are now able to inhabit and further explore what lies beyond our world. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this may shake some to their core, because humankind fears the unfamiliar. It lashes out at the thought of the unknown. But then again, it stands out because of its constant need to change and evolve. My guess is, if there's any future at all, it will continue to be a story written by human exploration. And we'll keep trying to answer the question, are we alone? As of right now, I simply cannot tell you what awaits us, but I can leave you with this. I'm more than eager to see what humanity's next discovery is. And I just hope that whatever we find isn't too scary. Thank you. I'm in.
Thank you, Sarah. The next person to come here will be Angela Vargas. Her talk title is What 2084 might look like if we succeed in stopping climate change.
We all know that the battle against climate change is one we're currently losing. But what will victory look like? Could the world become a green utopia? Here is one version of the CO city. CO2 emissions will be significantly decreased by 2084. The presence of regular meat at your dinner table will be unusual, and you'll breathe purified air and water, and nature will be recovering. Imagine leaving your home in the morning, entering a sustainable city with sustainable buildings and greener parks. If you decide to take a car, an algorithm will determine the best route and pick up a few additional passengers along the route. You could use public transportation, a bike or a scooter to get around. The fact that there are fewer automobiles on the road and the rest are electric means the air you breathe in the city is cleaner. Now, people are experimenting with new style of housing that share more areas and amenities. Wood is used more frequently in home constructions, making them more aesthetically pleasing and climate-friendly than concrete structures. When you purchase something, you do it because you truly need it and will take good care of it. However, because you purchase fewer items, you may offer goods that are of higher quality and more attractive. The new way of thinking about things are to refuse, reuse, reduce, and recycle. Agriculture has undergone significant transformations as a result of the new plant-based dairy and substitutes that have made it more difficult for conventional animal-based goods to compete. A large portion of the land that was used to generate animal fodder is not available. Tourism, hunting, and fishing are now new sources of income for those living in rural areas, as urban dwellers have begun to enjoy nature. Globally, forests and nature are regaining ground. As a result of increased strain in local travel, aviation traffic has diminished and the majority of airlines now use electricity. The fact that people aren't purchasing as much means they have more money to spend on other things. This extra cash is used to pay for things like cleaning, laundry, gardening assistance, travel, entertainment, and amazing new restaurants. With more options and free time to spend with friends and family, working out, learning new skills, playing a sport, or creating art, the ordinary mother individual has more time to accomplish everything. All of this sounds great in theory, but to achieve such a sustainable utopia requires significant adjustment that may also make us considerably happier. If we consider what the future could be, Picking up the mantle against climate change will not seem so bad after all. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, the next comment is Eric Cornell. His title is, "May I have some water, please?" No.
Water is one of the essentials for our survival, and it's been on a fragile stage for a while now. A huge problem awaits us in 2084. Human beings are the main reason for the contamination of water, and also the main reason for wasting it. More than 80% of the wasted water from human activities ends up in the river, either on the river or in the sea, untreated, causing pollution. We've been warned numerous times, yet it is not enough to wake some conscience into us, and the effects will be irreversible. We use too much water, waste most of it, and pollute the rest, and we will soon be noticing the consequences. Water quality is projected to deteriorate over the next several decades, which will affect us in different aspects of our lives, such as in our health. Contaminated water and poor sanitation are linked to the transmission of many diseases. In the economic development, just think of everything we use clean water for, and in the ecosystems. Now, if we have it hard, imagine all the animals and plants who can just simply go shopping to get a fresh cup of water. We're already suffering because of water pollution. By 2050, a dry climate is expected with droughts that will leave millions without water. So what do we leave to 2084? Absolutely no usable water, that's for sure. In theory, living in 2084 sounds great, but in practice, we will probably be drowning in waters full of chemicals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Very good. I'm a bit thirsty now. Giancarlo Gomez. Call of Duty used to be a game.
$10. 25 pesos. Okay, so to begin with, I would like to ask you, do you think that a nuclear war could break out tomorrow? Well, perhaps. Remember that when Hiroshima and Nagasaki were blown up, nobody saw that coming. And war has been part of our nature since the beginning of our history. The point is that we should not let it lure us to our graves, or else we might not make it to 2084. The problem that I foresee to be the worst can be found in all powerful nations, not only because of the quality of their militias, but also because of the nuclear weapons. Maybe you heard about the nuclear power of countries like the US, China, North Korea, and many others that are ruled by emotionally unstable leaders who can call doomsday in a simple snap, just like Thanos did on the Avengers. Now, imagine this scenario. The impacts will kill trillions, and if you played Mortal Kombat, you should understand that the radiation will be like the fatality to the few who survive, because they will end up fighting for food, medicine, and other basic resources. Although nightmarish medical conditions will spread faster and easier because of the toxic atmosphere. Another problem I would like to highlight is that year after year, countries like the US spent millions of dollars in warlike stuff, like equipment, weapons, machines, personnel, etc. But what if, instead of wasting so much money in killing people, we invested it in saving lives? Like addressing food, clothing, water, medicine, solving educational problems. Doesn't that sound like a better idea? Because I think it does. So, to answer the question, 2084, what awaits us? My answer, probably apocalypse, end of the world, elimination. Why? Because war does not determine who is right, only who is left. As a species, we are fragile, and we must understand that execution could be imminent. I mean, like a raw, violent, and embarrassing ending. This might be the annihilation of humankind. And it seems to be ridiculous that although we are the most intelligent beings on the planet, we're about to carve our own tombstones. So nobody here wants that to happen. We all want to keep Call of Duty as a simple video game. So what are we going to do? Are we going to let that kill us all? Or are we going to search for a solution? Remember that our future, it's in our hands. Thank you.
Our future is in our hands, guys. So, coming up next, we have Geraldine Hernandez, the children of tomorrow.
Humanity is the unlikely result of 4 billion years of evolution. From self-duplicating molecules in the Archean seas, to mammals escaping from dinosaurs and the dark, and finally, the human race. Evolution shaped us. Today, the average citizen has access to a wide variety of biotechnology implants and personal medical devices. These include fully artificial organs that never fail, bionic eyes and ears, brain interfaces, even artificial skin, which can be used to give the appearance of natural skin when applied to metallic limbs, like Sophia the robot. Have you seen her? These various upgrades have become available in a series of gradual incremental steps over preceding decades, such that today they are pretty much taken for granted. Just picture a fully evolved person of the 2080s to travel back in time and be integrated into the current population. They would be superior in almost every way imaginable. They would be able to run the Usain Bolt, they could survive multiple gunshot wounds, easier to cope with some of the most hostile environments on Earth. Even be considered intellectually Einsteins or Isaac Newtons. Humans would almost certainly evolve to live longer, much longer. And hear me out. The only realistic scenario is the evolution of 2 species out of ours, likely to happen if we expanded beyond our home planet and then lost contact with the settlers. And if both populations survive long enough, we might see divergence and maybe 2 species of humans. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Geraldine. Next to come here is Javier Lora. Is it real? Is it not?
Muchas gracias. Okay. 30 years ago, who would have imagined that we will be able to transport to a completely different setting, live millions of different scenarios, and essentially be in the internet from the comfort of your couch? VR places the user inside an experience. Instead of viewing the screen in front of them, VR places the user in VR users are immersed and able to interact with 3D worlds by simulating as much senses as possible, such as vision, hearing, touch, and even smell. The computer is transformed into a gatekeeper to this artificial world. Surely our parents weren't even able to grasp this concept, yet here we are already transporting via headset into the most unimaginable places. If we can do all that in the present, what can we do 60 years from now? VR has already started to influence human lives. For example, you don't even have to get out of bed to go shopping, tour a house, or be inside your favorite game. And it will transform each and every aspect of the future that we deal with, like tourism, education, the media that we consume, imagine feeling like a main character on your favorite movie, and more. Virtual reality is advancing quickly. Technology may not be able to allow us to relive or physically step back into old memories, but the possibilities are very intriguing. Virtual technology is so promising, we could visit the Eiffel Tower and eating croissants without having to step a foot on a plane. I don't know about you, but if you ask me, this is the main topic that I'm most excited about on 2084. Yeah, go ahead. I did it too quickly. Wala.
Thank you, Javier. Next to come is Diego Roca. His talk title is Too Many.
¿Crees que empiece de que hace mismo, de que too many? O digo overpopulation. Yeah. Okay. Hi, my name is Diego Roca, and I'm going to be talking about overpopulation. 2084 is the future, something we don't know. Conversation about overpopulation can quickly become controversial because they ask for the question, who exactly is the cause of the problem and what, if anything, should be done about it? Experts on the subject are afraid that narrow-minded people want to let people think that the problem with the overpopulation is not having the right people as if the right to live. It's allowed to depending on a title, a class, or a diploma. But I bet the misunderstanding the concept of overpopulation will change by 2084. It is only logical that an increase in the world's population will cause additional strains on resources. More people means an increased demand for food, water, housing, energy, and transportation. But as we increase, population will evolve. And by 2084, many resources will be found to control the needs, but other consumptions contributes to ecological degradations, increased conflicts, and a higher risk of large-scale disasters like pandemics. An increase in population will inevitably create pressures leading to more deforestation, decreased biodiversity, and spikes in pollution and emissions, which will be exacerbate climate change. Ultimately, unless we take action to help minimize further population growth heading into the remainder of this century. Many scientists believe the additional stress on the planet will lead to ecological disruption and collapse to several trends the viability of life on Earth as we know it. In conclusion, when addressing overpopulation, it's crucial to take an approach of providing empowerment while mobilizing against anybody advocating for the use of coercion or violence to solve our problems. Thank you very much.
Teacher, can I go?
Thank you, Diego. Coming up next, we have Nicole Ochoa. We don't deserve to live.
What is that?
Hi. So, I think we've given enough reason to whomever or whatever is out there to end humanity. So what tells you we are worthy of making it to 2084? Lying, selfishness, and lack of empathy are things a lot of people can identify with. We hurt each other every day, physically and mentally, and worst of all, we hurt the earth. Our home is the main victim of humanity's wrath. So again, why would it welcome us for a few more decades? Scroll for a little while in any news outlet from any date possible, and it's impossible to not develop a pessimistic view towards humanity. Endless reports of thieves, bombers, murderers, racism, and bullying is enough to make you lose all hope humans are capable of one day living in complete peace and harmony. It makes me think we are preset to have bad traits from inside the womb. Based on the long list of crimes against humanity we ourselves have committed, I can only assure you that it's just getting worse. With current and new generations growing so out of touch with reality and becoming more invested in what's going on online, and with technology advancing nonstop, or disinterest in things that don't involve us, and the capacity of feeling empathy towards others is in a downward spiral. We have 6 decades left to reach 2084, and with each decade passing, we become worse than the next. So what awaits us is desensitized, power-hungry, robot-like people. You may think you're not going to be like that, but trust me, in 20 or 30 years, you'll be even worse. You'll look at yourself in the mirror and see a monster, and not because of the way you look, well, maybe, but because of what you've become and done. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Next student to come is Carla Salcedo. You are being watched.
I attempted to write this TED Talk 6 times. All different subjects and titles. But at the end of the day, what has spiked my inspiration is one of the most iconic rock albums of all time, The Wall by Pink Floyd, what I consider to be a masterpiece of an album with a message of rebellion. My brick wall lately has been school. Little by little, the bricks have started piling and the walls multiplying, trapping me into a room that I seem to have no escape of, leaving me accompanied with only feelings of frustration, anger, sadness, and disappointment. And while trapped in those 4 brick walls, I had enough time to really think about why school is taking such a toll on me lately. The root of my anger is the fact that I have months left in this place, and if you ask me what I'm planning on doing, sure, I'll answer, but I won't do it sincerely, because truth is, I don't know. And sure, how many don't have this problem? Well, that's exactly my point. When we get into school as kids, we're all so excited and happy and creative, but by the time we get out, you're just tired and sick of it. And this is due to the fact that when we're kids in school, it's fun when we're learning and we express ourselves with creative activities. But after, with each grade passing, school starts getting more serious, but in a way in which I believe doesn't do absolutely anything for us. We get told to sit quietly, behave, and pay attention to classes about things that first of all, we're not interested in, and second, most are very outdated. We get told to do so much that by the end, we're so drained and tired. And not only do we have no energy at all, most also end up with no mind of their own going into the real world, which is also a problem because honestly, what makes people successful is doing things different when going out there. And schools are informing us the right way if we really think about it. So this is what I hope schools improve by 2084. What I really hope awaits the future generations at this place. I hope schools turn into a place where even the older ones are able to learn and exploit their creativity while doing so. Form individuals with amazing ideas that will put a little grain of salt when they go out there. Don't try to make them all fit into the same boring and useless spectrum. And to the next generations, I hope what awaits you is the absolute best. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. So coming up next, we have Gabriel Paredes, Digital Love.
Who's Leah? We can all agree that technology is very much our life. Well, most of what we know comes from technology. Because of that, our lives are becoming much more fast-paced, and that's making us disconnect with one another, which is a problem because us humans connect with each other through feelings, emotions, and passions. Try to understand each other's happiness and struggles. We no longer pay attention to the details and get to understand each other. Unfortunately, we are more invested in a digitized life than in an organic life. Here's a common example: social media. Social media is a big part of many teens' lives. A 2018 research of the Pew Research Center survey of nearly 750 teens, 13 to 17-year-olds, found that 45% are online almost constantly, and 97% use a social media platform such as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. Other studies also have observed links between high levels of social media use and depression or anxiety symptoms. So when I think about what awaits us, I see an emotionally disconnected human race, a civilization with no future. What I'm trying to say is that we as a society have become too invested in the digital world, too invested to the extent that I'm worried about our future, and how at some point we're going to hear the words digital love or digital happiness way too often. It's exactly what our parents were scared of, us getting too invested into our technological devices. Now it's possible that it'll be worse. Like, imagine a world that's so digital that we can actually live a normal life. I mean normal as in meeting somebody, falling in love, creating memories you would cherish, but knowing they're false, and because you're in the digital world, not real life, and can't do anything about it. A world so broken, the only thing you can do is go to the technological device and live in that digital world, like the movie Matrix that most of us have seen. That's scary, and I pray to God I will not be alive for that. Thanks.
Thank you, Gabriel. Okay, guys, so for last but not least, we have Leah Ortiz. Artificial intelligence, our salvation or demise.
We can all agree that technology has become a factor of great importance in our lives. It is thanks to technology that we've been able to do many things that in the past would have seemed impossible. Just think about all the activities you do every day with the help of an electronic device. Perhaps some of you are even using them right now as I speak, and I wouldn't blame you. The point that I'm trying to make is, we depend and rely on technology too much because of how easy and efficient it makes our lives. This raises several concerns, including how will it be in the future, how much better will it get? It's just like waiting for a new update on a software or a video game. We want more. We seek to find new ways to progress so we can satisfy our every need. Now, let's leave these examples behind and focus on something else. What are your thoughts on artificial intelligence, or to be more specific, androids or robots? Most people like the idea of having androids among us. Imagine all the things they could do for us humans. They could increase production, work for extended periods of time, do all our dirty work, or even serve our lives. It's unbelievable, right? And these are only a few examples of the countless tasks these intelligent machines could carry out. In our present, all of this would seem like a nice dream, but 62 years from now, I don't think so. Just like the idea of smartphones and computers looked like a joke back in the 90s, and how it became a reality afterwards, I can assure you, the same thing could happen with androids, even sooner than we imagine. Putting this aside, let's jump to the disadvantages. And yes, everything has its negative side, even the so-called androids. Our robots are programmed not only to do what they're ordered, but also collect information from what happens around them. This could result in them making their own decisions. And what happens after that? Terminator. It always ends with the Terminator. They end up hurting humanity. I know this sounds a little cliche, something that will usually happen in movies, but I'm telling you, it is possible. Robots also have a nasty habit of taking people's jobs. And I say it this way because our current technology has already caused this to happen. Just imagine starting your dream career and just imagine starting your dream career and make. Wait, sorry. Just imagine starting your dream career and making your life depend on it, just to get it snatched by emotionless machines. I'm sure nobody wants that. Now, to finish this off, I want to clarify. By giving you this talk, I don't have a specific objective, nor do I want you to have the same opinions as me. I just want you to think whether artificial intelligence will really be our salvation or our eventual demise. Thank you very much.
Wait, guys. Thank you so much, 12th graders, for giving us a view of what 2084 would look like. Thank you. Bye-bye.